I see your eye. Open it up.
No. This is what happened to many of the Jews when Hitler was in charge. If only this poor man could have done something different. That's what the Jews and the people harboring the Jews thought. They thought, if only something went different, if only they could have done something to keep them alive. And even when they did survive, even when they did make it through, they had lost everyone they'd ever loved. So they'd wonder, why me? Why did I survive? Why didn't he survive? Why didn't she survive? I'm here to tell you what some of the Jews did to survive and hide and escape in Hitler's reign. Many groups of people were harmed and discriminated against during World War II, but none of it came close to the Jews. The Nazi Party believed that the Jews were the equivalent to a disease in the way that they were useless, they were stinking up the earth, and that they had to be eradicated. Because the Nazi Party believed that the Aryans were the pure and the superior race. The Jews struggled a lot in those times, and some of them would do anything to get away from it. One account of escape/hiding was from a German citizen named, I think it's pronounced Josef Range or Joseph Range. The name should be somewhere over there. And he helped, the way that he helped was he organized the escape of 2 Jewish prisoners and he hid them inside of his home. The 2 Jewish prisoners that he helped were Max Drimmer and Airman that. Though, when Mr. Joseph found out that the Gestapo, or the German secret police, was now looking for him too for harboring Jews, he too himself went into some hiding. Before he did that, however, he found a hiding place for his 2 Jewish friends at one of his friends' house over in Silesia. This story is a great example of how important it is to do the right thing, even if only for a couple of people. Because of Joseph, insert name up here, help, these 2 men, their lives had been changed forever, and they had been set free. Another story is told by a 15-year-old Jew, and his name is Otto Wolf. Now, Otto and his family had been hiding in the woods while one of their German friends came over regularly to supply them with food and, other supplies. One night, while they were waiting for him to show up, he never showed up. They're like, oh, that's fine, he'll just come by tomorrow. He didn't show up the next day either. Instead, they heard a pair of footsteps. So they looked over out of the bush, and it was a German man, a different one. He sees them, and he promises, he's like, oh, don't worry, I won't tell anybody that you're here. I don't know why that was an Indian accent, by the way. Anyways, they're just thinking, oh, we're cooked. Later that night, they hear a pair of footsteps. They're just thinking, man, he just came back with a German officer. We're dead. So they decided to just sit there. Turns out, my man Pluhar here was just supplying them with bread and chicken fat. Later in the war, the Wolf family moved in hiding to the house of their old maid from before this whole kerfuffle. Though her husband wasn't too hot with the fact of a bunch of Jews living there. And he told them constantly, I don't want you here. One time, a group of Soviet prisoners who were caught and were forced to help the German army were raiding the town to try to snuff out anybody who's resistant towards the regime. And while they were doing that, they found Otto, and they took him away to a camp. And he was being tortured by the Gestapo to find out where everyone else is. But he would never tell them where his family was and who was helping them. In the end, Otto gets killed. Otto's little sister takes over writing in the journal in hoping that one day, just one day, her older brother would return. Sadly, he never did. The Holocaust took a big toll on many different groups of people. amount of the hate would ever come close to that of the Jews. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.